Table.
Welcome to Creating Your Seat at the Table. I am your host, Ashley Little. A little bit about myself: corporate professional by day, entrepreneur by night, 5-time best-selling author, CEO and founder of Ashley Little Enterprises, LLC, owner and creator of Creative Broadcasting, and founder and owner of Talk Radio and TV Network, LLC. Tonight we have an amazing special VIP guest by the name of Dr. David Staten. A little bit about him. Dr. David is a professor in the rehabilitation counseling program at South Carolina State University. He is a licensed professional counselor, nationally certified counselor, certified rehabilitation counselor, board-certified professional counselor, and board-certified coach. Dr. David received his Ph.D. in rehabilitation counselor education from the University of Iowa, Masters of Arts in Rehabilitation and BS in Criminal Justice from South Carolina State University in 1992. His primary area of research includes racial identity, development of minorities with disabilities, health orientations of African American college students, and health disparities of minorities with disabilities. Dr. Staten has been employed by South Carolina State University as rehabilitation counselor educator for the past 17 years. He is currently the president of South Carolina State University Faculty Senate. He is also the editor of the HBCU Times magazine. Additionally, he has over 13 years of administrative experience as the program director of the Rehabilitation Counseling Program and several years of experience serving as department chair. He has successfully managed several $1 million of external grant funds from agencies such as Rehabilitation Service Administration, National Institute for Disability-Related Research, and the United States Department of Agriculture. Welcome to the table.
Thank you very much, Ashley.
You are welcome. So I'm excited to have you at the table. So could you tell us more about your journey? I know that you're still doing both, right? Entrepreneurship and 9 to 5. So tell us more about that.
Well, like as you said, I've been at South Carolina State University as a faculty member in the rehabilitation counseling program. Actually, it's been about going on 19 years. It'll be 19 years in August of this year, and just served as a professor, served as a department chair, and it was only 3 years ago that I just started to launch the HBCU Times magazine. So just constantly busy and moving forward, and just trying to accentuate all the positive work that's being done at HBCUs all across the country.
I love it. So let's talk about that. Our HBCUs are so important, and you are the editor for the HBCU Times magazine. So what inspired you to create HBCU Times?
Well, actually, my wife and I both co-own the HBCU Times magazine. Basically about 3 years ago, I was at home. My mother was dealing with cancer at the time, and in between chemo treatments, whenever we got home, from chemo treatment, she would be tired and she would go to bed early, sometimes 5, 6 o'clock in the evening, and I would just be sitting around just bored. And one night I was just playing around on Facebook, and I launched the Facebook group, the HBCU Times Facebook group, and I initially just put maybe 10, 15 HBCU alums and friends in the group, and by the time I woke up the next morning, it was like 5,000 people in the group, and then the group just kept growing and growing. And basically the mission of the group was really just to spread positive stories and positive information about HBCUs. And as the group continued to grow, I thought, man, I really should do something more more broad with this, and that's kind of where I got the idea. And then eventually we launched the magazine probably about 6 months after the Facebook group launched.
I love that, and you are doing some amazing things with HBCU Times for everybody that's listening, so definitely make sure you follow HBCU Times. So that's the thing. Let's talk more about the importance of our HBCUs. So why is it so important for us to give back to our historically black colleges and universities?
That's an excellent question. I mean, it's extremely important to give back to HBCUs. When you look at HBCUs right now, I believe HBCUs have over 350,000 students enrolled in HBCUs across the country. About 61% of those students are African American females. And as you all know, HBCUs across the nation, they've been facing many challenges. Many of those challenges have been financial in nature. You've seen several HBCUs close across the country, and other schools are on probation. Usually it's something dealing with finances. So it's extremely important for HBCU alums to support HBCUs, to keep HBCUs, to keep the doors open at HBCUs. When you think about HBCUs and what HBCUs actually produce, and I'm sure you all know HBCUs produce 85% of black doctors, 80% of black federal judges, 75% of black veterinarians, 75% of black military officers, 70% of black PhDs, 70% of black dentists, and I can go on and on and on. And, given the importance of HBCUs and what they do for the nation in terms of producing black professionals, and basically HBCUs are responsible for the black middle class in the United States. So it's of the utmost importance that we keep these institutions open, and we cannot do that without more support from alumni. I believe the national giving rate for alumni across the nation for HBCU alums is about maybe 15%, and we just have to do better than that to keep our schools open.
And I love that you said that, right? Because that's so important. And I know right now it's at 15%. So let's talk about that. Where do we need it to be in order to really make some real impact? What are your thoughts, Dr. Staten?
First of all, usually when you talk to presidents or you talk to individuals who work in institutional advancement, when they're out trying to secure funds and trying to get people to donate to HBCUs, usually corporate individuals want to know what percentage of your alumni give. And if you don't have at least 50% of your alumni giving, it's going to be very difficult for corporations to commit, because it looks like, hey, if your own alums aren't invested in your schools, why should we? So I think it's important for HBCUs to at least try to get to at least 50% of alumni giving. I believe Claflin University is right about 50% there. I think they are the highest. They have the highest alumni giving percentage among your HBCUs. But I think we all need to aspire to at least 50%, and that doesn't mean that you have to give, millions of dollars. It means you need to give something. And just think about it. If every HBCU alum just started out just giving $5 back, just to increase the giving percentage, that would really help HBCUs. So.
Absolutely. So for our listeners that are listening, Dr. Staten, they're wondering how can they get involved. What are some different initiatives you think that people could do to give back?
I think number one, I think they could become more involved and active with their national alumni associations, and just contacting the Department of Alumni Affairs back at their respective universities. And one thing about doing the magazine, I found that oftentimes the universities don't even know where the alumni are in the world. So, when we're sharing these stories, we're also sharing them with the universities who've lost contact with these individuals over the years. So as most people, change jobs 5 to 7 times, throughout the course of their career. Make sure you reach back to the university to update your contact information so they at least know how to contact you when they have capital campaigns or if you want to give back. So I think that's something really important, just letting your university know where you are and what you're doing, and having your contact information available for them as well.
Absolutely. That is so important for our listeners that are listening. So definitely reach back. If you are an HBCU graduate, reach back to your university and make sure that they are updated with your contact information and get involved. So we just talked about why HBCUs are so important. So why is the HBCU to keep the legacy, right? Because we need our HBCUs. They have made us the people that we are today, and it's a legacy. Why is that so important?
I think the legacy is important because when you start looking at HBCUs and the type of alums that we've produced, I think it's important to keep that going. You look at people like Martin Luther King. You look at Oprah Winfrey. You look at some of the biggest names, in the world, and oftentimes many of those individuals are from HBCUs, and I think it's important to keep the legacy going because, there's research that shows that African American students who attend HBCUs perform better than African American students who don't attend HBCUs in a number of areas. They earn more money, their quality of life is better, so many important factors. So if you take away HBCUs, you really take away the heart and soul of the black middle class. And as I mentioned earlier, HBCUs are basically responsible for most of your black middle class. So imagine what the world would be like if there were no HBCUs. Imagine if Martin Luther King didn't have a Morehouse to attend, if Oprah didn't have a Tennessee State University to attend. Just think about what the world would be like if HBCUs did not exist. So, the legacy is extremely important, and it's extremely important to keep that legacy going.
Yes, it is, and I love that you highlighted that because that is so important for our listeners that are listening that have attended and for people who are aspiring to attend. Definitely, we need our HBCUs. The legacy is so important, and we got to keep it alive, and it starts with us giving back. So, Dr. Staten, where do you see HBCU Times Magazine in the next 5 years?
I just see the HBCU Times Magazine continuing to grow. Right now, the HBCU Times is a quarterly publication, but really there's so much positive information about HBCU alums that it could easily be a monthly, publication with all the information that is out there about HBCUs. So I see the HBCU Times eventually expanding from a quarterly publication to a monthly publication. We're expanding. We're about to host our inaugural HBCU Times Gala on June the 13th in Charlotte, North Carolina. So we're going to be doing more events like that. The HBCU Times absolutely is going to be a philanthropic organization, and we're going to give back to HBCUs. Even at our first gala, we're going to award at least 2 scholarships back to HBCU students. We're going to be hosting conferences. We're going to have a huge festival, an HBCU festival, kind of like your Essence Festival. So I just see the HBCU Times becoming just more of a brand and branching out into many different directions in the next 5 years.
Amazing. So make sure if you're listening to attend his inaugural gala on June 13th in Charlotte, North Carolina. Dr. Staten, are you going to release more information soon for our listeners that want to get involved and support and donate?
Absolutely. We will be releasing more information about the gala around the 3rd week of January. So look for that in the HBCU Times Facebook group, and also on our Instagram page as well. But more information is definitely going to be forthcoming very soon.
So I know, it's a lot of different people and founders that are doing, creating different HBCU movements, right? So what are your thoughts, Dr. Staten, on how we can all come together and really make us a really big impact? What are your thoughts on that? Because it's a lot of us doing a lot of great things with different movements, right? But we brought it all together. What are your thoughts on the impact it will make?
Yeah, I definitely like the partnership spirit that you have and just reaching out. And I do think there are a lot of people like the young brother Travis with HBCU Pride. You got Jared Carter doing great things with the HBCU Digest. You have HBCU Buzz. You have HBCU Connect. There are so many different groups doing different positive things for HBCUs. I think at some point it could all start with maybe a conference call, but I think we need to come together and have a think tank and really be creative about, developing a mission and come together to figure out what we can do together, because absolutely I believe in partnership, and I believe we can do a lot more good if we all kind of came together and had some type of think tank or round table where we discuss ideas and we crafted our own agenda to really help HBCUs move forward.
I love that.
Really feel like we can't afford to lose any more HBCUs. So.
No, we cannot. And I think, and tell me if I'm wrong, Morris Brown just got his accreditation back, correct?
They are on the track. I think they just got recognized as an institution of higher education in the state of Georgia, and they're taking those steps. And I think they're in the process right now of getting their accreditation back. Dr. Kevin James is doing an excellent job of leading Morris Brown back. And I just look forward to just hearing more about what they're doing. And he's just doing an amazing job. And I do believe they will be back and fully accredited in the next year. So they're definitely on the right track.
Amazing, amazing. And so let's talk more about, as I know you've continued to build your own table. Mm-hmm. And so I always ask my guests this question. How did you create your seat at the table?
Mm-hmm. You know what? That's a great question. And to be honest, it was just really, just kind of maximizing. Everything you do starts with a vision. As I said, the vision came one day when I was bored and just kind of playing around on social media. But then I put some time and effort to really kind of, map out what I wanted the HBCU Times to look at. I looked at the resources and the colleagues that I've met over the year. I looked at what was in my environment, and I just basically maximized existing resources to just generate the content. The first few issues of the HBCU Times magazine were basically friends that I've had, over the past, 15, 20 years. So a lot of times you have everything that you'll figure out, as you get older, everything that you need is probably in your network. So you just start looking around what you have and the relationships that you've established and made at your HBCUs and really nurturing those relationships. A lot of times we get together, just once a year at homecoming, but if we really start coming together at homecoming with a vision and figuring out ways to partner and connect, there are a lot more businesses out there that we could develop and get off the ground. But the HBCU Times basically came from just having a strong network of colleagues and peers that I've met over the years, and all of the writers were from HBCUs initially. Not all of the writers now, but most of the writers are from HBCUs. Most of them are friends and colleagues that I've met, at State or at the University of, even at the University of Iowa, I met a lot of colleagues from HBCUs from all over the country. And that's another reason why HBCUs are important. When predominantly white universities want to find good candidates for law school, they go to Howard, they go to Morehouse, they go to North Carolina A&T. When the world needs engineers, where do they go? They go to North Carolina A&T. When you need teachers, you go to Claflin, you go to SC State, you go to Voorhees. So the legacy is what HBCUs produce, and PWIs know the value of HBCUs. That's why they recruit so heavily from HBCUs and not even from the minorities that they have on their own campuses. They're coming at HBCUs to find people to become doctors, lawyers, judges, engineers, accountants, etc.
And that speaks volumes by itself, right? That speaks volumes.
Yes, indeed.
Of why it's so important.
Yes.
So what did failure teach you on your journey?
Well, it teaches you, one thing about it, just being a counselor, you learn to always, have a mindset of self-reflection and self-evaluation. And one thing about venturing out and becoming an entrepreneur and owning a magazine is you realize that you don't have a business background, so a lot of what you learn by failure. So just learning the, different aspects of business and how to make new connections to secure sponsorships and to publish the magazine and distribute it. Those are skills that come from having a business background. And then again, the way you kind of bridge that gap is partner with individuals who have those skills and those strengths and qualities that you lack as an individual because of your respective training. So,
and I'm glad that you brought up partnerships and collaborations, right? Because for our listeners that are listening, it is so important for you to collaborate, especially if you're trying to get to the next level. So why is collaboration so important, Dr. Staten? Because I think a lot of people, they say collaboration, but it has great impact when you do it right.
Yeah, it does. It does, because what happens when people become successful, a lot of times they go off into their corner and they don't want to share what they have. But collaboration is about, building mutually beneficial relationships where both entities grow because of the relationship. And sometimes that means taking a risk and partnering with somebody that you hadn't necessarily partnering with before. But there's definitely strength in numbers, and there's strength in having a diversity of expertise at the table. So, but you do have to be strategic in terms of who you partner with, and I think it's important just to make sure that your value and your mission, all those things are in alignment as well. So there has to be some congruence between the groups that you partner with. So it's important to kind of filter who you partner with and just make sure that you guys are on the same page and have the same mission about what you want to do and what you want to accomplish.
Love that. And those reciprocal relationships are so important. Like you said, everybody should be walking away with abundance, and both people should be winning and growing.
Absolutely. It should be a win-win situation for all parties involved.
So what did success teach you on your journey, Dr. Staten, because you're very successful?
You know what? To me, it just kind of reinforces the power of the mind, and visualizing and planning and really creating the type of world that you want to have. And I didn't talk about it, but another one of the reasons why I wanted to develop a magazine called the HBCU Times is because there was so much negative information in the world about HBCUs. Most of the time, the only information that you would see published is when a university was in trouble with accreditation, or if there was a killing on campus. There was just so much negative information. And I was like, man, I wish we could flip that and, only put out information about HBCUs that's positive, because rarely do you see that type of information, especially in your mainstream media. So just the power of the mind and, what you think you can actually do, and the power of prayer and always keeping God first. But, whatever you want to do, the mind is so powerful. If you conceive it and you believe it, you really can achieve it. And that's kind of, what I took away from that.
Yes, you can. It's all about mindset, So, Dr. Staten, we are in a new year and a new decade. So what can we expect from you the rest of 2020?
The rest of 2020, we have our winter issue that will be coming out. The first week of February is actually a double cover. We have Charlemagne the God, who will be on the cover, and we also have Jamie Harris, who is running for U.S. Senator in South Carolina, on the cover as well. So, as I said, we will be publishing 5 issues this year. We have the HBCU Times Gala, and even leading up to the gala the week before, we're going to have an HBCU career and professional development conference. We're going to have think tanks and round tables about many of the important issues that are impacting the HBCU communities. So, we have quite a bit in store. And we're also going to venture out into merchandise, and we're going to begin merchandising the HBCU Times logo and selling T-shirts, sweatshirts, etc. So those are some of the things that we're going to be doing in 2020.
Well, super congratulations on all the great things that you have going on and it's about to birth in this new decade and new year. And so, listeners, make sure you follow HBCU Times, get involved. As I stated, Dr. Staten and his wife is doing some amazing things and making great, great impact. So, Dr. Staten, will you please tell our listeners how they can follow you and support you on all social media platforms?
Yes, thank you. First of all, if you want to reach out, if you're interested, if you have content that you would like us to delve into more or to do a story on, you can always email us at hbcutimes@gmail.com. We're also on Facebook. Just go to Facebook and just research or just put in the search engine the HBCU Times Facebook group, and we're also on Instagram is HBCU_Times8892 on Instagram. So there are a number of ways you can get in touch with us, and you can also reach me my business number at 803-928-0523. And if you have any questions, I'm always available. You can messenger me on Facebook or Instagram as well.
So definitely follow and support him. Get involved today. Email him. Get involved. So Dr. Staten, I would like to thank you so much for taking time out of your very busy schedule to come to the table tonight. This has been an amazing interview, and I cannot wait to invite you back to the table.
Thank you so much, Ashley, for having me, and I'm extremely proud of the work that you're doing, and I look forward to partnering with you as we move forward.
Yes, sir, and I look forward to continuing, like you said, partnering and connecting and collaborating in this new decade.
All right, thank you so much, and keep that Aggie pride with you, okay?
All right, you too, South Carolina State.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would like to give